No nanny had ever survived a day in the Harrington mansion. 17 had tried, and 17 had fled in tears. But when Amara Johnson stepped through the towering iron gates of that $50 million estate, she carried with her something none of the others had: an unshakable calm forged in places where childhood pain ran deeper than privilege ever could. Inside, chaos reigned. Red paint dripped down the cream walls like blood. Shards of crystal glass littered the marble floors. Feathers floated in the air like dirty snow. 3 6-year-old boys had turned the living room into a war zone. Their eyes, sharp with hostility, locked on the new arrival. "Another black nanny," shouted Lucas, the boldest of the triplets, hurling a toy truck so hard it shattered against the floor. "Dad says you're cheaper." His brothers, Ethan and Caleb, laughed cruelly. For them, breaking adults had become a sport. Amara, 32, with a degree in childhood education from Spelman and 10 years of experience working with traumatized children, stood her ground. She had grown up on the south side of Detroit, where violence was a constant shadow and children tested the world with rage because love felt too dangerous. These three were not monsters. They were wounded boys, and she knew wounds could be treated, but only if she refused to play their game. While Lucas kept throwing toys and Ethan smeared more paint on the walls, Amara knelt on the floor, gathering wooden blocks scattered in the wreckage. "What are you doing?" Caleb asked suspiciously. "Building a fortress," she replied calmly. "Every battle needs a stronghold." For the first time, the triplets paused, curiosity flickering in their eyes. From the doorway, Veronica Harrington, dripping with diamonds and disdain, sneered. "Miss Johnson, my children are spirited. 17 nannies quit in 6 months. The last one had a Harvard degree." Amara only nodded, continuing to stack blocks. "I understand completely, Mrs. Harrington." Moments later, Victor Harrington stormed in. The billionaire developer scanned the destruction, veins pulsing at his temple, before turning to Amara as though she were property. "How much are we paying her?" $3,000 a week, Veronica sighed. Victor scoffed. $3,000? That's more than she's ever seen in her life. The boys watched with fascination, waiting for her to flinch. Instead, Amara rose, picked up a fallen book, and read the title aloud, "The Prince and the Pauper." Her voice was steady, cutting through the tension. "Interesting story. 2 boys trade places and learn that true nobility has nothing to do with money." Silence fell. The triplets stopped smirking. Even Veronica's perfect smile faltered. Amara replaced the book gently and looked at the children. "Solid foundations matter more than pretty walls. That's true for towers and for people." Caleb moved closer, his voice small. "How did you know the base needed to be bigger?" "My little brother taught me," Amara said softly. "He used to build towers, but they always fell. Until we learned that strength starts at the bottom. He's gone now. A stray bullet when I was 15. The room froze. The boy's cruelty slipped, replaced by something raw recognition. Lucas whispered, "Is that why you're not scared of us?" "I'm not scared," Amara said, meeting each pair of eyes. "Because I've seen kids fight through far worse than broken furniture. You're stronger than you know." But the parents weren't swayed. Veronica bristled. "My children are spoiled, not broken. They need discipline. They need respect," Amara countered quietly. "And they learn it by watching how adults behave." Victor stepped forward, voice sharp with threat. "You work for us. Do as we say or leave." Amara held his gaze, unflinching. "You can fire me at any moment. But as long as I'm here, your sons will be treated like human beings, not burdens." She turned back to the boys. "Now, should we add a drawbridge to this fort?" For the first time, their laughter was genuine. Within 3 days, the Harrington mansion was transformed. Instead of smashing antiques, the boys spent mornings on special missions. They built bridges from toothpicks and marshmallows, planted herbs in the garden, and learned patience by cooking alongside Amara. Lucas became her little architect. Ethan discovered numbers. Caleb began writing short stories. Rosa Delgado, the housekeeper who had endured 15 years of silent service, watched in awe. For the first time in years, the boys said thank you. But Veronica only grew more irritated. "She's changing them too much," she hissed to Victor. "They're asking questions. About our company, about this house." Caleb asked if I miss my mother. They never asked before. It was during one of these quiet afternoons that Caleb whispered to Amara, "Is it normal for Dad to yell at Mom every night?" Lucas added, He breaks things when he's angry. We thought that's how grown-ups deal with problems. That's why we break things too. Amara's heart clenched. These children weren't just spoiled. They were mirrors of a violent home. That night, from her small maid's room, she called her best friend, Dr. Naomi Brooks, a social worker. Naomi, it's more than tantrums. This is emotional abuse. I need to document everything. And she did. Every insult, every racist remark, every violent argument. Rosa, seeing Amara's determination, whispered one afternoon, "If you need someone to confirm what you've witnessed, I will stand with you." A week later, the reckoning arrived. An unmarked van pulled up to the Harrington gates. Dr. Brooks entered with her ID. "We've received reports of emotional neglect and exposure of minors to harmful environments." Veronica nearly dropped her cappuccino. Victor exploded with rage. But then Rosa stepped forward, her voice steady after years of silence. "I can confirm every detail." The triplets clung to Amara, calm in the storm, finally ready to speak their truth. The investigation revealed everything: emotional neglect, financial fraud, and the poison of prejudice at the heart of the Harrington home. The empire crumbled. Veronica lost her social standing, Victor his company. The boys were placed with loving relatives, guided by therapy and care. 2 years later, Amara Johnson stood on a national stage, accepting an award for her nonprofit that had already saved hundreds of children. Rosa had risen to a management role in an ethical company. Naomi directed regional child protection services. And the Harrington triplets, no longer the terrors of their mansion, were thriving, finally free to be children. As Amara looked out over the audience, her words carried the same calm strength she had brought into that mansion. Children are not born cruel. They reflect what they see. When we stop blaming them and start fixing what surrounds them, that's when true protection begins. And somewhere, in a modest apartment far from the mansion that had once been his kingdom, Victor Harrington watched the speech alone, finally realizing that the woman he once dismissed as just a nanny had brought down everything money could not protect.